You are your own earth. You now have the opportunity to explore in the way you wish to explore. But now allow yourself to understand it purely from a vibrational point of view rather than a mechanical one, so to speak.
Super, thanks.
Thank you very much. Shedding.
Good day, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
First of all, I want to say I am someone that has done what is exciting me the most, and it is incredible.
She is someone who has done what has excited her the most, and she finds it incredible.
Incredibly wonderful.
Incredibly wonderful.
Feels real good.
Feels real good.
Feels real good. Okay, I want to set up a short scenario.
All right.
So I don't take up too much time, but I feel it's important.
Go ahead.
Okay.
But be loud about it.
Okay, I will be loud.
Thank you.
Thank you. Back in December, I created a scenario for myself where I was shot.
Shot.
And
In what area?
In my back, lower back, right side. It came out in my right, I guess, breast area.
No, all right.
Okay.
Did it give you the push you needed?
And then some.
No, all right. Do go on.
Okay. From that, as you say, if you give me a push, I went from A to Z,
Yes.
back and forth a few times, and I've since then put a lot of pieces together.
Thank you.
No pun intended.
I understand.
Okay. I had always had a leaning, a desire to be a
desire to be
a conduit or some sort of channel for electrical healing to other people who felt they needed it.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. And what has happened recently is someone invited me to a meeting by a woman named Louise Hayes, who is doing some wonderful things with people who have AIDS.
All right.
And similar scenarios.
All right. And?
Well, I went last week.
Yes.
Before I went, the night before, I made a statement to all that is.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going. I'd like to offer myself in any way I can. And if it happens, it happens, and I hope it'll be perfect work. I show up. They say, okay, we have a bunch of people coming up on stage for healing. If anybody wants to go and provide a service, please go. I go up, I look around, I say, great. This is anything like I feel like I can do. That is my way, I'll put it that way.
All right.
People were performing Reiki. It was great. I'm standing there going, okay, what am I going to do?
Yes.
I need to be a little more quiet, a little more one-on-one. I pull a curtain back, there's a couch. I say, okay, well, that's a little more private.
All right.
So I'm waiting for people to come around that I connect with in some way.
Yes.
Fortunately, there were 4 male individuals that I did make contact with.
All right.
So I'm thinking, what can I do? How can I present myself?
And your imagination, sir?
My imagination says sit down on the couch, have them turn their back to you, and proceed to hold them, right hand over the heart chakra, left hand wherever. Most of the time it presented to be itself directly under the heart chakra as well. And what happens with me is I get a very strong vibration in my hand.
Yes.
Very strong electrical current.
Yes.
And it
Pulse,
vibrates.
pulse. Yes.
Very strong.
Yes.
My heart pounds.
Yes.
It lasts however long that the person needs it, I guess.
Yes.
Or whatever.
Yes.
And then I took my right hand and put it on their forehead, which I heard a couple of days later was a pituitary area where a lot of healing energy comes through.
All right.
In any event,
Yes.
I was so happy.
Oh, thank you.
And that night, I had a dream.
Yes.
This is where I would like some clarification
All right.
from you. The dream was not what I call our everyday dreams, where we know they're symbolic of lots of things, and then we think about them later.
All right. What
it
was it?
It was a lucid dream.
All right. Lucid dream.
There was
A dream where you know you're dreaming.
Right. It was sort of brown.
A brown
Brownish
dream.
gold. It was brownish gold. It almost looked like candlelight.
Candlelight.
There
All
were
right.
2 beings that I was looking at.
1, 2.
One said to the one in front, he whispered something to him. And in essence, the vibration I felt was that he was saying to the one in front, she's come to help you.
All right.
Now, this being in front was like carrying the weight of the world on him. It was like the vibration of AIDS. His face was half-eaten. It was trying all it could to
Very
get,
good.
and it was coming toward me, but it smiled with
Yes.
all the love
Yes.
and beamed of love.
Very good.
But the closer it got to me, I wasn't afraid of it, but its appearance disturbed me
No,
so
all right.
much that I woke up. That's what I'd like you to elaborate on.
Thank you very much. You are, in your terms, very accurate. You were in contact with what we can call the template of the idea of that disease. And you made a difference. You were willing to present yourself, present your case, present your energy, present your gift. You are willing to share. You are willing to make a change, to allow a change to occur. And in that sense, you have already made a change. Therefore, it is now easier from this moment forward, from that moment forward, the moment of the dream. It is now easier for individuals to love themselves back to health from any disease. You understand? You touched the template of the idea in your collective consciousness that is disease. And you allowed it to be loved. And you, in that sense, therefore, allowed it to be easier for individuals to love themselves and therefore no longer need to manifest their creation in the form of disease. You understand? We thank you.
Thank you. One short thing.
One short thing. Time's up. Go ahead.
Where the bullet entered and where
Yes.
it exited,
Yes.
I have since had sort of a pulling sensation. However, after I had this electrical simmering
Yes.
between the people and myself,
Yes.
where the bullet has exited all the way up to today, that's been almost a week,
Yes.
does not hurt.
Yes.
The other part still, but
That
that
is
part
all
does
right.
not hurt. Yeah.
The idea is that you are in touch with the heart energy and you are using that to heal. But remember, the idea of any healing will always usually work backwards from the latest to the first. You understand?
Yes, I do.
And that is where, in the seat of your spine, the most energy is to be released from anyway. You understand? You are going to assimilate just fine. Allow yourself to continue to love yourself in that way, and let the universe love you and nurture you in that sense back to the balanced state of your natural, healthy self.
Well, thank you very much. And I love you.
We love you as well.
People here too.
Thank you for your boldness and for allowing yourself to take off like a shot.
Thank you.
And you as well. This time, you may all enjoy a short break. We will resume contact in this fashion in approximately 10 to 15 of your minutes of count. Before we continue, since those that are familiar with us know how much our civilization enjoys things that come in three, I will now simply allow you to know that this particular format of interaction shall occur but 3 more times. Once in your October month, once in your November month, once in your December month, and that shall be, in your terminology, the conclusion of this format. From that point forward, there will be endeavors, projects that will be suggested through what you may call the writing format or different project formats. There will be, in a sense, a network that will be established for intercommunication among people who are excited about doing what excites them and do it. And slowly, over what you may call time, an establishment of all those individuals performing those things that are very excited will be melded and welded into a particular network that will allow each and every one of you to gather strength from the central hub of that network through information itself. We will discuss this idea more later on in one of the upcoming 3 remaining sessions. But now's the time, as has already been talked about, this your year you are in, your year of transformation itself, year of doing in that sense, the year of being what you have spent so long in becoming, the year of action, the year of change, the year of transformation of all that you knew into all that you desire. This is the balance and the crux, the double infinity symbol in your society of 88. The idea now that you are truly at the crossroads, hence the understanding we spoke of the limbo state, the central state, the state of the present power, around which, shall we simply say, orbits all possible realities. Make your choices, act upon those choices. Now is the fulcrum. Create what you call the future you desire from the now. There is really nothing that I could say in that sense that could inspire you. I can send out vibrations that, if you were to match those vibrations, would allow you to inspire yourselves to truly act, to know that if you did act in the direction of what excites you the most, you would have the reality you desire. Guaranteed. But I cannot convince you of this. I cannot force this idea upon you. But now this entire year, this entire orbit of your world around your central star is for that recognition and that realization. This entire year, the entire orbit, the entire circuit is the limbo orbit, the limbo state, the point present power. Use it. Act upon it. Great momentum is there. Nothing is at a standstill. It is going infinitely fast, but not in any way, shape, or form beyond your control. Never has been, is not now, and never will be. Ingrain this knowledge within you so that it is in your turn second hand, so that you know it because you use it. And it shall become second nature to you all. For it is actually your first nature to be creators in that way. 3 more times in this fashion is all that is necessary from our part in this way to generate the necessary reflection and momentum to allow you to draw from what has already been given, for all the tools are there. Use them as an entire kit, forgetting not one part when you consider another, but consider them all together every time you think of applying them. Apply them all to every situation. Remember, your memory is created in the present. Know what you need to know when you need to know it, because you choose to, and act accordingly. You live in the moment. You always will. You always have. And you do so right now. At this timing, let us continue in the present manner and the continuation of sharing.
Good evening, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
It's wonderful to be here.
Yes, transformational one. Yes.
It's sort of difficult to explain, but basically in my life I've been able to manifest some incredible things. I'm so happy about a lot of things in my life.
Yes.
One thing troubles me a little.
One thing troubles her a little.
And that is...
before you continue, may I?
Please.
Thank you. Do you remember what number you were this evening?
13.
Yes, you were. The transformational number, 13.
Right.
Now, that should start you off.
Okay. Well, I feel like I'm being transformed every moment.
Well, yes, you are transforming yourself every moment. Remember, you are the warrior, and you do nothing that is not done boldly.
This is true.
Yes.
What I've noticed recently
Yes.
is that I don't have a relationship in my life in terms of a physical relationship. I have a lot of friends.
I assume you are referring to a particular being.
Precisely.
All
Yes.
right.
I do have my primary relationship, which I'm expressing fully.
All right.
As fully as I can.
Yes.
But I find myself,
And
I hate to say picky,
Vicky,
but I find myself unable to really get into just any physical relationship
Oh,
and
right.
not be able to find one that I really feel nurtures a part of me that I've come to know.
which part of you do you feel is not being nurtured?
Well, it's not that it's not being nurtured, because I do feel very complete. I just like to be able to share a physical sort of an exchange
Yes.
with the being, because I learn so much about myself.
All right, well, go ahead and pick someone and share.
Well, now,
Well.
it's not that easy. And
It's not that easy. Oh, all right. Here come the rules. Go ahead. Put them up on that big blackboard you have. It's not that easy.
Well, it's just that I've really honed in on exactly what I want.
Oh, and exactly what do
qualities
you want?
I want.
What qualities
And,
do you want?
Someone that's very sensitive, understanding.
Someone that's very sensitive and understanding,
Has an understanding of metaphysics.
an understanding of metaphysics,
Wants to grow in that area.
wants to grow in that area,
Is capable of unconditional love.
capable of unconditional love,
Who would possibly not be intimidated by my need for time and space.
not be intimidated by your what?
Need for
Need?
time and space.
Need for time and space. You mean, in that sense, someone who will allow you to be creative in your own way.
Precisely.
All right.
So,
And?
can you fix me up with an alien or something?
Now, what are you doing tomorrow night?
I'll be waiting.
One moment. Don't want you to wait. So I'll make a few suggestions if I may. Do you understand something, however, that you are in a relationship right now with me right now because this conversation is going on?
I do. As a
All right.
matter of fact,
All right.
I've written some songs to you and about you.
Thank you.
And
We've written a few to you.
thank you so much.
Thank you. One moment before you go on. Now, do you understand that in that sense, nurturing of the self and joy that you seek comes from giving those qualities you seek in someone else to someone else?
Yes, I do, and I feel that I've been able to do that. I mean, I've
With
become,
whom?
I've become closer to a lot of my male friends.
All right.
than ever.
All right.
But not physical. Even to the point where, you know, even if I were interested 3 months ago, for some reason it's on a different level.
All right. Stop. Is there, just asking, an image, a representation in your imagination of a particular person that, well, I'll put it this way, you have quote-unquote fantasized about being in a relationship with, that perhaps you do not necessarily think is someone who would, how do you say it, give you the time of day?
I'm sure there's
You do not have to
someone
name
out-
names.
I'm sure that there is someone out there, and yeah, I have thought about what my perfect reflection would be.
All right. Is there in your imagination, in what you may call your fantasy, anyone that does to some degree symbolize it?
In my physical world now,
Yes, someone that you know of, perhaps in your terminology, someone that you may call, quote-unquote, famous, someone well-known, that you have been using, in a sense, to act as a placeholder in that fantasy. Not well,
not
yes.
really, because
No.
there are certain things I admire and respect about certain people, but I know that since I don't really know them as a person,
Yes.
I don't really give them that much power. You know, I mean, I might.
We're not saying you have to give them your power.
No, but I mean, I don't say, oh, if I could only have Christopher Walken, I'd be happy. You know, I don't say that to myself because I don't know what this person is really like. I know what he looks like.
But you see, this is the point, is that if there is someone that is symbolic, that is being utilized within your imagination that actually does represent what you think you want, why not find out what that person is like?
I could do that.
Could you?
Might be difficult.
Might be difficult. Sounds like the idea of the person that I want to have a relationship with, simply because of who they are. It can't be that easy. They can't be in a relationship with me that way. Are you discounting it because of those ideas?
No, I just don't think that, I'm going to meet Peter Gabriel.
Why not? Why not? Who are they? Why not? What makes them so different in that sense from you?
Well,
may I ask you a question?
Sure.
Are you of their vibration?
I feel I am.
Then why wouldn't you be able to meet them if you're in the same universe? If you're in the same universal frequency, what would prevent you from running into each other synchronistically?
Actually, that's true. I guess I could visualize meeting them at a party or whatever.
All right. Now, I'm not saying you have to fixate, and I'm not saying that you necessarily have to be that specific. You could use that kind of a fantasization as a key to orient you to a particular frequency, but you can also simply know that you are of a particular frequency, of a particular, shall we say, genre, and therefore you do belong. And I do not mean this exclusively in terms of excluding anyone else, but you do belong to a particular club, just as anyone who is of a particular frequency belongs to the club of everyone else of that particular frequency. If you're simply functioning on that level, those are the people you meet.
Yeah.
Understand?
Well,
But, to use one of your language's favorite words, but, if you are of the frequency definition, the frequency equation that says, I would like to think I'm of that frequency, but I don't really think I am, then that's why you're where you are.
Well, I'm not really in that much of a hurry. I know...
You don't have to backtrack.
No, it's not a desperate situation.
I understand that it's not a desperate situation, however.
I like myself.
I know you like yourself, I like you too.
Thank you.
But we are simply answering your question in a very direct way. It is our perception, simply our perception, that you may be creating a bit of a discounting of the images you do have simply because somewhere in some level of your consciousness you do not necessarily truly think yourself equal to certain other individuals that you may actually find quite exhilarating to interact with in a natural and quote-unquote normal way.
Yeah, it's funny, I can do that in my career. I feel equal to every opportunity that comes my way.
Why is this phase of your life not a part of who and what you are?
I don't know. Maybe I feel like they can't be inclusive of one another.
Why? Oh, yes, it's very possible to see it that way, but why should you choose to create it that way? Why should you choose to believe that it is mutually exclusive?
Maybe I don't trust that I could balance.
Oh, maybe you think you'll chase them away by swinging your sword around. And you think it is very difficult for someone in my life to be unconditionally loving of me when I have such a big sword to swing. Maybe you think that.
I do.
All right. Well, allow yourself to understand that if you want someone to parry with, you'll find it. But at the same time, you can find someone, you can attract someone who understands that all the parrying is simply for the purpose of learning, and it doesn't have to be in an argumentative fashion. It can be quite exhilarating, quite exciting, quite enjoyable in that way. Simply allow yourself to understand that you are not excluded from any level. Whatever the vibration is that you are willing to totally be will attract the idea of counterpart reflections to interact with you and reflect to you who and what you are. But first you must be bold enough to be willing to be all that you know you are. And not be afraid that yourself, your true self, will make it impossible for someone to relate to you.
Well, I'm really close.
No, all right, I understand that. I'm going to say something now that is not meant as a chastisement and not meant derogatorily. But to think that who you are, in that sense, would be so different that no one could possibly relate to you is a bit egotistical.
Yeah, I understand.
All right. Allow yourself to let those other individuals in by knowing beyond a shadow of a doubt that no matter how bold you are, there will always be someone to match you. Always. And at the same time, you are a match for some of those individuals you don't think you're equal to. Understand?
Very well.
All right then. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bashar.
And congratulations. Sherry!
Hello, Bashar.
And you, good day.
I would like to ask you your concept of music.
Music.
Is it the universal language, as they say?
Well, in a sense, because everything is vibration. And therefore, what you call music, or the expression of harmonic tonality, vibrational tonality, is one of the ways that you can, shall we say, interpret the vibrations of creation and all of the, shall we say, mathematical rhythmic patterns that are reflective of different discrete universal realities within the overall vibration of all that is. In that sense, yes, you could say it is universal language. But more specifically, vibration itself is the language. How you pattern it, what is music to your ears, what is music to my ears, can be vastly different. Understand?
Yes.
The idea in our society at this time is generally expressed in a relatively simplistic way, I think you would put it. We have very little instrumentation at this time. Sometimes there are voices that are used spontaneously. The instruments that are left in our society are simply very simple string, very simple percussion, a few of the idea of wind instruments, mostly the idea of what you would call tonal bell structures of a spherical nature and some of a linear nature. Mostly this we now have, although our spacecraft, in a sense, can be said to be musical instruments, since they resonate at harmonic frequencies that represent the vibration that is used to tunnel from one dimension to another. And when those craft give off those frequencies, when they surround themselves with that harmonic resonance field, it can set up from time to time in the atmosphere of a particular world a most melodious harmonic frequency that in itself is a type of music, the music of the interface of one dimension, or shall we say in all reality, all dimensions with all other dimensions. And that is most moving. There are, in a sense, within our reality, shall we say, now I'm using this term very loosely, concerts that are witnessed by many individuals, and these concerts are given by the ships themselves. Remember that the consciousness, the, shall we say, computers that drive the ships are intelligent, are self-aware, are conscious, and in that sense, sometimes will simply give off a radiance, a frequency that all beings around can enjoy. The ships will play themselves, and we enjoy that most heartily. You understand?
Yes.
Does that answer some of the specific ideas of music?
How about the people? Do they make the music or just your spaceship?
No. As we have said, the idea that there are string and percussion instruments, these are used spontaneously by the people, but also simply the voice is one way, as it is upon your planet. Sometimes there are a few individuals in our society that simply will give, in a sense, energy concerts. They will stand or sit in one place, and they will create a resonant frequency similar to the ships, and will give off a particular series of harmonics that in and of itself is a type of music. And we can listen to that as well. It is also a communication. This is usually done when communicating with specific entities in another dimensional realm. Those entities that you call Kachina energies on your planet. We talk to them by, in a sense, creating a type of energy electromagnetic hum, by accelerating the frequency of our corporeal bodily forms to a certain pitch. And when all the cellular structure, the atomic structure, is harmonized, it gives off a certain radiance, a certain frequency that is a direct carrier wave to that internal dimension in which those other non-physical beings reside. But there are residues that are given off in our atmosphere that sound to some degree like music. Does that help you?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. Sharon.
Sure.
And hello to you.
Hi. It's been very exciting last 8 months I've been having with the metaphysical world.
Last 8 months, very exciting. Allow them to believe it by sounding excited.
Very exciting.
Oh, thank you very much.
I've had very exciting experiences.
Goes with being excited.
Yes, with having past life experience
All right.
with friends.
Yes.
And going to Indian powwows.
Powwow, wow, all right.
Yes. Sharing just a lot of things.
Getting through a lot of things, all right. Very exciting. I am doing so because they cannot hear you. This is the only reason I am repeating, any of you.
I'll speak up.
Thank you.
Okay. I've took it upon myself to take some advice of friends and Bashar on exercising more of my right side, my male side.
All right. And
Okay.
what happened?
And I met Whitley Strieber.
All right.
Okay, and I'm an actress.
All
and
right.
I spoke with him about being in one of his movies.
All right. And?
Okay, I thought that this was going to extend my acting, but I learned that it was to just, for my own being, to know that I can approach
Yes,
someone.
build your confidence.
Yes, build my confidence.
Which
Okay.
is extending your acting.
Exactly. Okay. I went away on a trip, and I had a wonderful time in Sedona and in Arizona.
Yes.
I came back, and I felt like I was back in this, like, box, this cubicle once again.
Once again.
Dealing with this reality of facing, trying to find work.
All right. All right.
And I feel very closed in, and
All right.
I feel like I'm looking for an agent. And I feel like I've been looking for the last 100 years.
Oh, one moment. Some of these people are thinking, look under a rock.
Great. That's exactly my feeling. I mean, I know they're out there, but I feel that I don't have enough confidence to go find one. And
May I ask a question? Well, thank you very much. Why do you need one?
everyone says I need one.
Everyone.
I know producers, and I'm in the business,
I
and I
see.
know directors.
One moment. I must check on something. Do you mind?
Check.
Did everyone in this room say she needed one? Then I guess everyone didn't say it. There are a few people who didn't say it.
What do you mean?
You said everyone says I need one. Well, there's some individuals here that didn't say it, so it can't be everyone that said it. Do you mind if I tease you a little bit?
No, I like your personality.
Oh, thank you very much. I have several, you know.
Yes. I've noticed.
Thank you. So do you, you know.
Yes.
What is acting, after all, except absolute belief in another of your personalities?
Yes. What's that have to do with going and...
What it has to do with is that one of your personalities is also an agent, and it takes an agent to know one. So why don't you be an agent and attract an agent if that's what you want?
When I go out and when I've gone out on interviews,
Yes.
I can't believe the people I am facing. They should not even be in the business.
I see.
Okay, I feel like I could do a better job, and at times...
One moment.
Like you have...
One moment. Oh, you are so very honest. Say that again. I feel I could do a better job. Yes?
Yes.
Then what do you need an agent for if you can do a better job than they can?
Because when I came up against... A part...
Came up against a part?
Okay, when I had the opportunity to have
Play.
a role in a part,
Yes.
it came to the point of reading for the wrong parts.
Reading for the wrong part.
Okay, so I felt if I had had an agent,
Yes.
that they could have called up and said, look, she's reading for the wrong part, and Whitley Strieber said this was the part she should be reading for, and...
And why could you not have said the same thing?
Because it wouldn't have been protocol.
I beg your pardon?
It would have not been appropriate for...
May I ask you a question?
I think that's where I draw the line.
All right, it's your line to draw, but you won't get beyond it as long as it's there. Now, the question I would like to ask, if I may,
Yeah.
it seems sort of, shall I say, a little bit of an odd thing to be thinking so strongly about such a thing as protocol when you're talking about playing a part in a movie that represents the meeting between a human and an alien, which half of your world doesn't even believe is possible. Where's the protocol in that?
I believe in that.
Well, all bets are off then. You decide where the protocol is. There doesn't have to be any sort of protocol in this issue at all. What needs to be, needs to be. Where it fits, it fits. Who you are determines where you wind up. Speak up for yourself. If you don't believe that you have placed yourself in the proper representative frequency, place yourself where you believe you belong. Be your own voice. Understand?
Yes, and I feel like I have been, but I feel...
Yes.
I don't know. I just feel like things are stopping me, and I get frustrated.
Frustrated. All right, all right, all right. One moment. Someone wants me to ask you a question. And this someone wants me to ask, the part that you believe you were correct for, what do you believe you would have discovered by playing that part?
That I have the ability to play the part, maybe nothing more than that.
What do you believe you would have discovered about yourself by playing that part? In being that person, for the time you are playing the part, would you not discover the same things that that person discovered? But for yourself in your own way? Do you understand the question that is being asked? You are being asked to play a part in a film. One must assume that the character you are playing is going to discover certain things about themselves in that role. You understand?
Yes.
Now, if you are, for the moment, being that person, what, as that person, would it be that you would be discovering as that role unfolds? What does that character discover?
I think through her rage, maybe confusion of what's going on with her life, she discovers self-worth, self-discovery, knowing that it's okay, what she's going through is simply all right. I don't know. I didn't get to read the whole script, so I'm not sure what the character was. It was a group discussion.
All right. One moment. The question I am now being asked to ask is, if, in your terminology, this situation had happened to you in, quote-unquote, real life, your own life, how do you think you would have felt? Would you have, to put it again in your vernacular, been able to handle it?
No.
Why not?
Because I'm experiencing a lot of things. I mean, I've experienced spaceships over my apartment that freak me out.
Freak you out!
So
right.
I'm not willing to accept all that yet.
Oh! Do I freak you out?
No, I like you.
All right. Why do they freak you out? I am being asked to ask.
Okay. The unknown.
Oh, one moment. They have something else to say. Are you ready?
Ready.
Boo! Are you scared?
No.
Why not?
Because you're amusing me.
I'm amusing you. All right. Why do they not amuse you? I am being asked to ask.
Because of the unknown.
What is unknown?
Well, I don't know if the reticulum or Pleiadian or
So what? Are they friends?
I don't know.
You don't know. Do you decide that you will only attract those that are?
I suppose if they're over my apartment, they're friends.
You suppose. Do you know it?
But I don't know how to get rid of the fear.
Oh.
I understand that they're friends.
All right. One moment. We'll get to that in a moment. However, let us backtrack for a second and simply explain that if you are not ready to live that role, you certainly are not ready to play that role. You understand?
Yes.
All right. Now, do you believe you have a need to attract anyone in your life of that nature that would be other than a friend?
No, I don't have the need to attract anyone that wouldn't be a friend.
Do you have the desire to attract anyone who wouldn't be a friend?
No.
Then why does it matter that they are unknown? The specifics, do they have to be known in order to simply know in the overall sense that you have decided to only attract those that would ultimately be friends?
You just opened up another box.
Oh, thank you very much.
I've been experiencing producers that I've known that are doing movies right now, and I feel like they're not being a friend to me by letting me read. Well, it's not that they're not letting me read for something, but they won't, when they say they'll be there, they won't be there. When they say they call me in, I feel like they're honest.
All right.
And personally, I don't know if they're my friend.
Stop. Remember this. It is believing is seeing, not the other way around. If that's the reality you're getting, you went into the interaction with the belief that that would be the most likely reality you would attract. You're only reinforcing your belief by attracting the reality you believe to be most likely. And then you are using those situations to reinforce the belief you already had and simply say, see, I told you so, this is all you get. And perpetuate a cycle you don't like. Break the cycle by knowing that the situation occurred to show you, not that you're stuck with that reality, but simply that you went in with that belief and therefore that's what you got. If you don't prefer it, redesign the belief and go in with that with full conviction. But you're not going in with full conviction as long as you are afraid of the unknown. You understand? If you redesign a reality that you prefer, and yet you seem still not to get the result of that reality, it's because you're not applying that belief by fully believing in it. When you still fear the new reality, because you fear the unknown, you are still buying into the old reality and giving it your power. You're saying it is more likely that the unknown will produce something distasteful and unpleasant than something joyful and sweet.
How can I become friends with the unknown? I mean, how can I feel comfortable? What steps can I take?
Friends with the unknown. Friends with the unknown. The fact that you have even mentioned that there could be such a concept shows that it really isn't that foreign to you, does it not? You have considered the notion, I could be friends with the unknown. Now, if that were really not the most likely reality, why would you even think it might be possible? Why would you prefer it if that were not the most likely reality? Is that the reality you prefer? Is that the reality that excites you the most?
No, I prefer it to be known.
No. Listen.
Yeah.
Listen. Do you prefer to be, in your terms, scared of the unknown or friends with the unknown?
No, I prefer to be friends.
Friends with the unknown. All right. Do you like what you call in your world holidays?
I love holidays.
Birthdays and Christmas?
Yes,
Do you like getting presents?
of course.
Of course. Do you know what I'm leading up to?
No, I don't.
If I were to hand you a present, since you seem to enjoy me so much, and you were so delighted that I had given you this present, and I said, open this on your birthday and you will have a wonderful surprise, and your birthday was, say, 3 days away, would you not have a thrilling and exciting time enjoying the anticipation of waiting till your birthday to open that up
Yes.
and find out what was in that present?
Yes, and I know what you're doing.
And if someone were to sneak up to you on the second day and say, it's a such and such, would you not say, you ruined my surprise? You made what was unknown known to me before I desired it to be known. I now have no joy of discovering discovery, no thrill of the interaction the way it was intended to be. Do you understand?
Yes.
The idea is to understand that you do know what you need to know when you need to know it. You know everything you need to know to be who you are, but the specifics that are unknown are simply for the purpose of allowing yourself, your whole self, to be known through the energy, through the mechanism of self-discovery, through revelation. That is the mechanism of growth. If you, in that sense, simply, quote-unquote, knew it all in the way you are implying you want to, you would have no need to be here, no reason to be here, no reason to experience the joys, to savor the ecstasy of this particular reality in this way. You're simply assuming that the term unknown must be a negative, and not allowing yourself the delicious anticipation of self-discovery that comes with the timing of the gift that you are giving to yourself in the way you're doing it. Comprehend?
Yes.
Delight in your timing. Delight in the surprises that you give yourself. Nothing is to be feared. You're only going to discover more of yourself. And this is the way you have chosen to do it. Even what you call a master delights in the simplest surprises. Because that is life. Because life is always growing. That's the paradox. Creation exists. It all exists. And yet at the same time, it is being created anew. Ongoing. Forever. It will never all be complete in that sense. And yet it is all complete within itself. A paradox that may be, but that's the way it is. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand.
Are you having a good time? Did you know I was going to say this?
No.
Are you having a good time?
Somewhat.
Somewhat.
I'm getting there.
Getting there. Where is it?
There.
There. How far? How many days? How many miles? How many steps away? And if I may ask, when you get there, won't it still be here?
No, I'll be there when I get there.
It will. Are you now having fun?
Yes.
Are you now teasing me?
Yes.
Are you delighting in that?
Definitely.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bashar.
By the way,
Yes.
they love you. Whether you got the part or not, they love you.
Thank you.
And they know that you are learning what you want to learn. And they are helping you understand. Just because it's not, quote-unquote, in the movie, you're still playing a part in the unfolding drama of that entire interaction. You understand?
Yes, I know that now. Thank you.
Action. We thank you.
Thank you.
At this timing, allow us now to roll the credits, as it were. We thank you for the expression of your sharing, and we remind you from many consciousnesses, do not be afraid to go in the ocean. Do not fear the waves of your reality. They carry you to places that may seem uncharted. But when you land, treasure will always be found. Fear not the depths of your ocean, for in the ocean swim happy beings, happy hearts, and happy minds. You are all an ocean of souls. Swim in the dream of the reality you desire. All of our personalities, from all aspects of the oversoul that we are, send you love and light and greetings. Our love to you all, and a fond good day.
have a question from our listeners at News for the Soul.
All right.
I
you
thought
may get the ball rolling.
Okay. I guess this question dovetails exactly with what you're talking about, which is, I was thinking of a...
One moment. Shh. Remember we just spoke about quietness? Thank you.
I was thinking about following your excitement and how the ego can be helpful or obstructive in allowing you to follow your excitement. So let's say a person wants to try a new endeavor, which might involve quitting their job and following their passion that way, but they have a lot of anxiety about the financial consequences of that.
Yes.
And so how does this happen that the person is able to balance out the energy between their higher mind and their physical mind in order to be able to have everybody do their job appropriately in that scenario?
First and foremost, as we have said, you must honor the belief system that is there to whatever capacity you feel it is necessary to do so. In other words, you give honor to the belief system that the ego has created and recognize that from the ego's perspective, it is valid. From the physical mind's perspective, it is valid. Therefore, you don't abandon it willy-nilly, as you say. You work with it. You, in a sense, make a deal. You say, all right, I'll tell you what, physical mind, ego mind, I'll tell you what. I will continue to work with, say, 90% of that belief system, but give me just 10% to play around with, and I will show you that that 10% can actually work. Make a deal, strike a deal with the ego to give you some latitude to move beyond, even a little bit, incrementally beyond the belief system you believe is necessary in order for you to continue. As you make those deals and keep doing them, bit by bit, you will train the ego to understand that as you ask for more and more latitude, the ego will actually feel itself being more and more supported, and it will allow you more and more and more latitude until such time as one day you will look around and realize that all the old belief systems are already gone, and that you allow yourself complete support with the new belief systems in whatever way actually supports you. The second thing is, while you're doing that and making those kinds of deals with the ego, if that's what it takes, is to embark on an expedition, embark on a campaign of redefining the ideas that you're using. For example, the idea that the only way you can be supported in life, the only way you can be allowed to do the things that you desire to do, is with one particular format or representation of abundance. Remember that our definition of abundance is the ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it. Period. Now, if on your planet money is one of those things, all well and good. But the idea is it's simply required that you have the ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it. And if money isn't necessarily the way in which it's best to do that thing, then your reality, your higher mind will actually bring you the thing that would actually allow you to do that with less effort. Because sometimes if you insist that money's the only way a certain thing can be accomplished, again, that might simply be setting up an obstacle to bang your head against, when in fact your higher mind could actually bring it to you in a more easy way if you would only relax your definitions about what you think you need. So by going on a campaign of changing your definitions of what you think you need in order to be who you prefer to be and have the life you prefer, while simultaneously making deals with your ego to let you stretch a little bit beyond the belief systems, but while still honoring those you really feel you cannot yet change, you can work out a pacing for yourself that will allow everyone the balance they need, everyone to participate, all the aspects of your consciousness to participate as it needs to, and bit by bit you will find that you will change.
So if the ego is frightened in that scenario,
Yes.
will it sometimes try to sabotage the person? Like they'll say,
Yes, of course.
okay, I'm going to try
But
this.
that's why you need to strike a deal. You see, you need to find a negotiation that works. Because the only time that the negative ego will sabotage you if it feels it's not gotten a fair listen, a fair deal, a fair negotiation. If it feels that you are avoiding it, attempting to go around it, circumvent it, You understand?
It sounds like business
It is a
protocol.
business deal. Because the physical ego is all about physical business, the physical world. Therefore, one good way is to use its own language. Deal with it in a negotiation and allow it to understand that you are willing to negotiate fairly. So if you negotiate a fair deal from the ego's point of view and it allows you some latitude in that negotiation, then there is no reason why it would need to sabotage you. The sabotage only comes when you have not negotiated a fair deal.
That sounds incredible because it's really about understanding the language of the ego
Yes.
and talking in terms that it really can embrace
Yes.
and accept.
Absolutely. It's all about definitions, understanding them, and working with them.
So just to be clear, which part is making the deal with the ego?
Very good question, because you see, that's where the cleverness comes in. Because the idea is that the one that is actually negotiating with the ego is the higher mind. And so by bringing up the issue of creating a fair negotiation, you have already brought the higher mind to the table. And it starts negotiating with the physical mind in a fair manner, because higher mind is all about balance and fairness. But you're using the physical mind's language in order to get the idea across. So both are present in the negotiation. That's the issue. Both are present at the table. By even offering the idea of a negotiation, you have brought both the physical mind and the higher mind to the table to work out the best deal for the whole person. And that's the underlying issue in the negotiation. You are working out a fair deal for everything involved, for the whole being, for both sides, for both polarities. All right?
Okay, that's great. I'm getting a lot more clear on how you can have this dialogue with all these different aspects of yourself.
Yes.
And become a unified person.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Bashar.
Good day, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Thank you. Recently, in my meditations, especially with the use of entheogens, I have
The use of
entheogens.
define.
Well, the scientific name for it, entheogen, en meaning in, theo is God, gen is generate, so it's plants that generate God within, such as like mushrooms and things of those nature.
Understood.
Okay, so I've done mudras.
Yes.
And later finding out my ego, physical mind, doing research, finding out there are ancient Tibetan hand signals that raise frequency.
Yes.
What is it? Is this my higher mind communicating with me? Why is this happening? Is it like a quantum overlap? What's
Well,
what's
yes,
going on
in
there?
a sense, although again, remember that all of these things are simply permission slips. You understand?
Sort of. Can you elaborate?
The notion of permission slips is simply that which you are attracted to use as a symbolic helpmate to put yourself in the proper state of being that represents more of your true self. But the idea is that you attract yourself to use these tools, these rituals, these ideas as a permission slip to align with your belief system, to allow yourself a reason to give yourself permission to be more of yourself. None of these things themselves are actually doing this. You are. But they are designed by nature to function as permission slips to allow you to give yourself permission to unlock those states of beings within you. And the ultimate realization that comes from the use of permission slips is that you no longer need them to create the state.
Are you referring to the entheogen or the
All
mudras?
of it. Any of it. Any tool, any technique, any physical symbol that allows you to feel that you can achieve a certain state of being, a certain vibratory level, is nothing but a permission slip that ultimately will show you that you no longer need the permission slip to create that state. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I guess I'm a little bit more questioning, like, when this is happening. Also, I guess you could say like Reiki type healing
Yes.
occurs as well.
Yes. But again, all healing is done by simply creating a vibration that suggests to the person to be healed what frequency they need to match within themselves in order to create the experience of healing for themselves.
I understand that. And also, just real quick, the ego itself,
Yes.
and an out-of-body experience type
Just the
situation.
fundamental ego, you mean? Just the focusing mechanism.
Yes.
Yes.
The inner dialogue, I
Yes.
guess. And an inner out-of-body experience type situation.
Yes.
Where you feel totally dissolved and one with everything.
Well, not exactly, but go ahead.
Not exactly.
Well, in other words, if you actually had the so-called experience, I put that in your quotes, of actually being the one, you would not actually have an experience. You would just be the one. The one does not experience itself. The only way that the one could experience itself was by creating itself as the all. So when you have the experience you just talked about, the actual experience you're having is a connection to the all within the one, but it is not actually a connection as the one itself. It is only a connection to the one as the all.
Is that like the 99% kind of method you gave yesterday, like right before the one?
It is similar to that idea, yes. Because to actually go into the one, to actually be the one, there is nothing else. And an experience cannot be had when there is nothing to compare yourself to. So the one has no experience. It has experience as the all that it is, but not as the one. So, this is just a clarification of terminology.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
So, in your out-of-body experiences, when you can perceive a connection to the all, that the one is, yes?
Yes.
And then, you were going to say, beyond that?
Oh, I was just going to say beyond that, just when you experience that, like, it's more of a processing thing coming back into the ego mind. Like I was going to ask with that question, is there really a dissolution of the ego, or is it still there?
You still have a sense of your own identity, but it is not actually experienced in the same methodology or by the same mechanism as the physiological mind's ego structure.
Is that similar to dreams then?
It is more similar to that, but it is actually even beyond that. Because the dream itself also has to be a physical mind construct in order for the physical mind to understand the symbologies of the experience. The dream may not be literally representative of the experience you had, but it may be the closest approximation the physical mind can make to symbolize and represent that an experience was had. Therefore, the dream structure is actually a creation of the physical mind personality.
Okay, so that's not the higher mind then sending, like, for example, for inspiration, imagination that comes from the higher mind.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. It can be that the origination of the information comes from the higher mind. What we are saying is that in order for the physical mind to understand it, it has to cloak it in symbology that makes sense to the physical mind.
Okay.
Therefore, what it's actually perceiving are an arrangement of its own symbols of what the higher mind is saying. It's like translating from one language to another.
Excellent.
Make sense?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good day, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Thank you very much for tricking me into talking to my higher mind.
You are very welcome.
Because that's what I've been wanting.
Yes.
So I do spend time every day being quiet in meditation,
All right.
trying to get my ego mind to shut up.
Oh, all right.
Okay, that only works so well.
Well, this is where the negotiation comes in.
Okay, so speak a little bit more about that.
Well,
So,
again, the idea is to know that when you propose a negotiation, that you are proposing something that is fair for everyone, including the ego structure, including the physical mind, including the higher mind. That something can be worked out that will work for all. Now, we understand that there may be a belief system within the physical personality structure that may not trust that, and you may have to work with that a little bit. But that is why we say if in the negotiation you promise to honor the belief systems that are already there that come from the physical mind's fear-based belief, then by honoring it as much as is necessary, then you can prove over time that it is no longer necessary to hold those things to be as true. So you does have to start, in a sense, with giving the physical personality, in a sense, let's say, you have to give it the first win in the negotiation. You follow me?
Okay.
By honoring the belief systems it has created, by validating them and recognizing that from the physical mind's point of view, they are valid. It's only trying to protect you after all. It's protecting itself, but it's protecting you.
Yeah.
Because it thinks itself is you.
Yes.
So the idea is that what it's doing, no matter how detrimental it may seem, no matter from what negative place it may seem to come, it's doing it out of love. Making the statement in your negotiation, your opening statement in your negotiation, that you recognize that it's doing what it's doing out of love is the way to begin the negotiation. And then what you're returning with is the idea that what you are also proposing is out of love, because you want the ego to survive and you want it to experience joy in doing its job effortlessly. And therefore, what you're going to propose is a sensibly and reasonably paced unfolding of a change in a negotiation that honors its side, its view, while at the same time also allowing you to prove to it that the changes you are proposing will serve it as well. So it's a win-win situation. But you must start any such negotiation by letting it, in a sense, win its first point, because the ego is all about winning.
Yes.
When you can teach the ego then that you're interested in a win-win, it will start to relent and grant you some leeway. Then you can work with whatever it is it gives you, and even if you are given a seed, you can expand that and keep expanding that in your future negotiations as you prove, bit by bit, that the old beliefs are no longer necessary for the ego to continue to win. At a certain point, you will cross a threshold in those negotiations where the ego will actually be eager to grant you more and more and more leeway, because it will actually start to feel the burden lighten up on itself. It will actually start to feel more like its true self. It will actually start to stretch out and say, you know, this isn't half bad. Well, in fact, then maybe it is just half bad. But it is working its way to being all good. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense.
Does that help?
Yes, it helps, and I think it may answer the second part, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Oh, all right.
So then when I get the ego to be quiet for a while, then I spend the second part asking questions of my higher mind and then waiting for an answer and writing it down.
You can. Again, remember, it is important during this point to actually use this quiet time to begin a dialogue with your higher mind in whatever way will allow the ego to feel that you're not tricking it.
Give me an example. Do it.
Well,
do the dialogue.
You have to express the idea that you're going to... Are you familiar with the idea? Again, this comes back to the idea of what you call business language. Are you familiar with the idea of full disclosure?
Yes.
Well, that's what you're doing with the ego.
Okay.
You're saying, all right, the first win goes to you. And now, if you will allow me, I'm going to talk a little bit with the higher mind. Is that all right? Of course, the ego will think that you are something else talking to the higher mind, when in fact the higher mind is actually saying that.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
All right, because at first the ego won't recognize you as the higher mind. But when you get the ego to be quiet, you actually start talking to it as the higher mind. But for a while you may have to pretend that you're not. You may have to pretend to seem to be a neutral party. Maybe you can even pretend you're the negotiator in between the physical mind and the higher mind. The point here is to use your imagination to make that negotiation work in whatever way it seems to work best. But what is important is full disclosure, so the ego doesn't feel it's being tricked. And when the ego doesn't feel it's being tricked, the ego will have no reason to trick and sabotage you. So full disclosure is important. All the lessons of what you call win-win business negotiation are applicable to negotiating with the ego structure.
I love that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bashar, I am absolutely excited and delighted to be here with you.
Oh, all right.
Thank you so
and
much.
Good day.
Good day to you. Good day. I have been asking my ego to allow me to exponentially move forward away from what I recognize as limiting belief systems.
And how has it responded?
Well, it's going pretty well. I have
All
big
right.
dreams, but they feel surrounded by limitations. What happens is I get very close
Yes.
to the people and experiences that that might be the ushering me in towards
Yes.
them.
Yes.
And then something recoils and I end up sort of in a cross between dire circumstances and
Yes.
debt and this possibility of amazing
Yes.
things.
That's because you have set up the negotiation to allow the ego to toy with you.
Yeah. It's a mean ego that I've got.
All right.
I'm working
well,
on it.
Again, the idea is to go back to the 0 point. Renegotiate the deal.
Okay.
Don't be so insistent on having a particular kind of expansion. Even the idea of an exponentially expansive, joyful life may not even be involved in the first negotiation. You may not want to enter that arena in the first negotiation. You may just want to start with just a little bit.
But if survival issues are up, that does begin to play into it.
But what we are saying is that if you propose a less aggressive agenda to the ego, it will not feel threatened and survival issues won't arise.
Right.
You see, you may have proposed too much for the ego to handle. You may have said, I want it all or nothing. I want to explode, expand at an exponential rate. And the ego's going, okay. We'll see how far you get. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, there she goes. Oh, yes, expanding. Yank. Yank you right back. Because you didn't deal with the actual underlying reasons why the ego would feel the need to do that.
So essentially it's still an issue of not being gentle enough with the ego to let it feel it's included in the bargain.
Not being gentle enough, and then therefore not being, shall we say, precise enough in your investigation of what the underlying beliefs and definitions were that are creating the ego to be in the state that it's in. Not understanding the ego clearly enough and why it is holding the position in the negotiation that it is. When you understand the ego's motivations, then you can deal with them in the negotiation. You cannot just bargain and run and not understand where the other side is coming from. Otherwise, they'll pull the plug.
I hear you, but I'm trying as hard as I can. So
no, don't
perhaps...
try so hard. Why are you trying so hard? Are you in a hurry to get where you want to go? What kind of energy do you think that puts into a negotiation? Oh, well, you don't really want to be here talking to me. You want to be off having fun in some other place and leave me behind. I don't believe you're sincere in this negotiation, the ego says. You're in too much of a hurry to get where you think you need to go. You're not cherishing my value. You're not staying in the moment, in the present, as if this was the most important thing in your life. I feel unloved and abandoned.
Aww.
And I'm going to get you back for that. You're being mean to me, so I'm going to be just as mean to you.
Right.
Are you getting the point now?
Yes, I do. I get it so completely. It's just that
it's
how
just that what?
to.
I just told you.
Okay.
You need to relax and not be so eager to get where you think you need to go. You need to be nowhere more important than right here, right now. Whatever is happening and whatever process is important to go through in forming this dialogue and this negotiation with your ego is the most important thing in your life, and nothing and nowhere is more important to be. Forget about being anywhere else. This is the most exciting thing.
And if I end up on the street corner without a home?
Oh, good way to set yourself up.
Well, it's heading there.
Who is saying that?
Some bastard, man. I'm going to go wrestle with him.
The negative ego is saying that to try and scare you because you've scared it. Don't you understand? That's how it works. If you scare the negative ego, it will scare you back by making you believe. Remember what we said about negative ego reinforcing negative beliefs?
Yes.
So when you scare the negative ego by making it think you're going to abandon it, it will scare you into seeing a future that is one to avoid, so you won't go away. It's covering the reality you could have with a smokescreen, an illusion of a reality you don't want, so you won't move in that direction because it doesn't want you to go. Because you've let it think you're abandoning it. Because you're not treating it with enough respect.
Gotcha.
Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you, ma'am.
Sirs. Thank you, my dear.
And you as well, my darling.